Hello everybody, welcome back to another Mystic Islands video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Sorry about the delay again. School ends in about 2 to 3 weeks, so I will be a pretty free man. But today I'm going to be going over all of the common skills in the game. So if you didn't know, a skill in Mystic Islands is basically any text is in the text box of any card pretty much. And then of course the italicized text in quotes is just flavor text, so you don't have to worry about that. It has no actual effect in game. But a common skill is basically a skill that is common. So it's common to multiple cards, something that you see quite a bit. Currently 10 in the game as of set 2, but 2 more are going to be added in set 3. At least 2. I'm also testing out a third one, but I don't know if we could fit it in the set, so we'll see. So I'm just going to be breaking down to you what these common skills do. So let's just get started. We're going to start off with Untapped. This is a pretty common skill actually throughout the game. One of the better ones, I believe. It basically says this creature does not enter the battlefield tapped. So if you've ever played Mystic Islands, every creature enters the battlefield and they tap immediately. This meaning that they are tired and unable to attack or block, which there might be a big update coming in the game soon where we change the word untapped to something else. This is for legal reasons. So in the future, if that does happen, I will let you guys know about that, and we'll obviously have to reprint the cards with the word untapped on it. But for right now, this is what is on the cards. So basically, the card will come in untapped. So it won't come in tapped, and it's ready to attack right away. So this is one of the better skills in the game, I think. And as you can see, some examples to the right, we have Feeble Goblin, which is actually a really bad card, but untapped is a small, good part of that card. Wizard Outcast, untapped 3/3, pretty good in set 1 there. And then Solo Drunken Sailor, one of the best one-cost one-drops in the game. So Idle. This creature is not affected by ability cards. This is one of my personal favorite skills, basically because this is immune to bloodthirsties or removal, and it brings a lot of value to your creature. So obviously you don't want your creature to die quickly through just a quick ability card hitting them and then they're gone. So this kind of forces your opponent to play a little bit more strategically with their creatures, buff their creatures. So some examples of this are Fireball, which is actually an ability card, so that's kind of funny. But basically, it just cannot be affected by ability cards, so it can't be countered. Safeguarding Soul can't attack 0/5, but can't be affected by ability cards either. So basically, only a creature can kill it. Next up is Enraged. For every opposing creature this creature kills, this creature gets +1 attack, +1 defense until death. This is a pretty sweet one, but it's only appeared on 2 cards in the game so far. But this rewards you for killing creatures by buffing your creature. So like Dwarf Coal Miner right here, Enraged, so 1 attack, 2 defense. He is pretty small though. But whenever he attacks and kills a creature and survives that battle, he gets 1 attack, 1 defense bigger, so he'll become a 2/3. And then he'll become a 3/4, then a 4/5 at some point. So there is a limit of 3 on these 2 cards here. But from now on, there will be a number after the word Enraged. So if it says Enraged 2, it means you can get up to 2 counters of the +1/+1. If it's Enraged 6, it can get 6 +1/+1 counters. So that way it gives it a little bit more freedom, and I can make some cards with some better effects. Amber. This is very similar to Enraged, but a little different. So every time this creature attacks and deals damage to an opposing caster, it gets +1/+1 until death. So some examples of this are Hulking Orc with a limit of 3. Goblin Chain Twirler with a limit of 3, and Flame Atronach with a limit of 3. So obviously I'm going to be adding a number to the end of this one as well in the future, because I don't want it to only have a limit of 3. It kind of limits what I can do creatively with the cards. So, Amber 4, they can have up to 4 +1/+1 counters. And basically this one's a little bit better in my opinion, because you don't have to actually combat creatures, so you can keep your creatures more safe and more likely to survive the battle, and then still get a little bit of a buff. We have Decay. This is almost exclusively a skeleton faction, or I guess exclusively a skeleton faction at the moment, but obviously it can be put on any card I want in the future. Every turn this creature is on the battlefield, it gets -0 attack, -1 defense on it until it dies. Obviously, this is a negative effect for your creature, but it comes with probably an upside with my design process here. So as you can see, Clumsy Bones is a Decay, but a 1/4 for 1 is very good value. He also combos with Colossal Bonebreaker, so that's the reason he exists there, because you kind of want him to die. Crazed Scrapper is just a beastly card. Even though it only stays around for 1 turn, that 2 untapped damage can really save you in a pinch. And then Struggling Scout is a similar card to Crazed Scrapper, but a little bit more defensive, so he can play defense for you at least. Now, Permanent is a common skill that I'm actually removing, so it's not going to be in the text box anymore. It's going to be up where you can see the ability. You can see where it says Mage ability or Pirate ability. It's actually going to be right there. So it's essentially not going to be a common skill anymore. It is just going to be part of the ability card itself. So there's going to be regular ability cards that do their effect and go to the graveyard. And then there's going to be the permanent ability cards, which just stay on the field, which is going to be the exact same thing. I'm just moving it, and it's not going to be a common skill anymore. But all it does is the card remains on the battlefield until destroyed. Obstruct is one that has not been utilized too much, but I feel like is pretty good. So this creature stops damage left over from battle from affecting the caster. A little bit hard to understand, but as you see, Skeleton Warrior right there, he's a 1 attack, 1 defense with Obstruct. Now, usually a 1/1 can't really block anything except something with 1 attack. So if I deal 6 damage to Skeleton Warrior, that 5 extra damage usually bleeds onto my opponent's health, right? But in this scenario, because he has Obstruct, that 5 damage just dissipates and does nothing. So basically, he has infinite defense when blocking almost. Because nothing will get through. While he's attacking, he can obviously still be killed. And when he's blocking, he will be killed as well if he gets hit with 1 damage. But anything past that will not hit me. And bigger creatures, this is not as good for. But smaller creatures like Skeleton Warrior is a good bonus. Exhaust is considered a common skill, but it has only been on 1 card. And that is Stone Golem Goliath. And it basically reads, this creature does not untap at the beginning of your turn. It untaps at the end of your turn. I haven't seen many people use this card yet, but it is definitely an interesting skill, and I need to know if it is too good or not. So let me know if you play tested with it and what you think. Grounded is definitely a new skill for set 2. This creature cannot be banished. Pretty general right there. So we have, obviously, you can kill a creature or you can banish a creature. And as you can see, Cairo Royal Net right there is idle and grounded, so he cannot be affected by ability cards at all. And then he cannot be banished at all. So you basically have to kill him through a creature, which is why he's one of my favorite cards for any decks that I'm trying to keep defensive creatures up. And then Amadi the Brave is a huge dwarf faction creature, and you don't want him getting randomly banished, so he cannot be banished. So that is pretty sweet. Battleborn is one that's going to have to be utilized in the future more as well, but set 2 introduced it. This creature gets +1 attack, +1 defense, while in combat only. So Angered Axe Slinger and Armed Serviceman are 2 examples of this. Armed Serviceman is a 1/1, but whenever he's in combat, so once he starts to attack, or once a creature attacks him, you put a +1 attack, +1 defense counter on it, so he becomes a 2/2. Now let's say their creature is a 1/1 as well. They're going to deal 1 damage to Armed Serviceman, but he at that point has 2 health, so he's going to survive that battle. So that's the whole point of that. And then Angered Axe Slinger, same thing. He's just a 2/1 instead, so a little bit bigger. And then coming in set 3, we have Mend X. So the X won't actually be there. That's just going to be a number. Mend is going to be how much health you're going to gain. So when casted, gain X health. So if it is Mend 2, gain 2 health. If it's Mend 16, gain 16 health, whatever it would be. And then one of the cards that will have this in set 3, unless it's changed, of course, is Castle Watcher. So I don't have any artwork for it yet, so it's not finished. So I'm not going to show you guys yet, but at least you get the name and you get to try to figure out what that's going to be. And then we have Frostbite. So obviously this set is called Bitter Cold. It's going to be an awesome set, and it says when casted, choose an opposing tapped creature. It gets -1 attack, -1 defense until end of turn. So this is going to be a great ability, I think. It's going to really reduce the amount of small creatures your opponent can just throw out, as they'll just freeze to death from Frostbite. So people are really going to have to take this into account this set. And obviously it is coming in set 3. And I have a few examples here. We got Frost Knight, Castle Rats, Winter Warlock, Frost Arachnid, Skeleton Prisoner, and Cairo Shark, and that's just a few. So Frostbite's definitely going to be one of the biggest ones of the set, if not probably the biggest one. And then I'll sneak peek with you guys. The third one that might be coming in is called Avail. So if you have any ideas what that would be, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Just so you guys know, I think the Black Friday deal is still going on my merchandise website, spreadshirt.com. So link in the description for that to get your Mystic Islands merch as well. I believe it's 15% off for a few more days, so don't miss out on that. Set 3 is in the works. I have a new video up soon, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.